Thank you, Marshall. Welcome, everybody. Today is August 17th, 2022. We are in the CALPADS Q&A. My name is Paul Higgins. I'm a data analyst working at CSIS supporting CALPADS. Announcements. CALPADS Flash 234 was released, when was it? August 16th, yesterday, talking about the end-of-year deadline extension. We now have until September 9th, 9/9, to get everything done and where it needs to be. There was a build yesterday, so hopefully all of those bugs went in, and and all of the snapshots are being refreshed, so that way we can make sure the impact of that, and hopefully it will help get us to where we need to be. The CALPADS 234 does talk about the remaining defects that will be bothering us and we're working on. And it does give you, at the very end, permission to start uploading your 22-23 enrollments if you've not already started doing so. In addition, the SSID matching tool training video was released this morning. An email did go out. I believe, yep, there it is. There's the link up on screen, and I think that will get put into the chat box. So if you do want to watch that, it was very well done and it's very thorough. So please do take advantage of that. The trainers took great care in making sure that it was thorough and that it's a very good video for you, so that way you are left with minimal questions. Just as an advisory statement, the service desk level 2 queue is severely backlogged. We are working as fast as we can. Angela's been out on vacation, burning off vacation time so she doesn't lose it. So we're kind of struggling, but we are trying to keep up with it. So please, if you haven't heard back from us, don't get discouraged. We are going to get caught up soon. Now, on Monday's office hours, we had some of the comments gave us some food for thought. So in the vein of not backing into the future and not getting into the pool via the stairs, I'm just going to jump right in and share some of my thoughts on that. A few weeks ago, we discussed in the Q&A that, CSIS and CALPADS operations are working as hard as we can. We're being as honest with you as we are with ourselves, that we're trying to get through this, and we're working diligently on it and as quickly as we can. We all want a non-drama-based system as quickly as we can. If we're more lighthearted or less serious in these meetings, it's not because we're taking your problems or you less seriously. It's just we're simply trying to maintain a certain morale among staff and users alike. We're a very small community, and the last thing we want to do is walk into these meetings and torque you off. We're here to help you. We're here to hear your concerns, answer your questions, do what we can for you. But we're not going to complain about the system to you. We're going to fight the good fight behind the scenes, but gripes always go up, Farzo. They always go up. So say Private Ryan. And we're not going to lay the burden on your back of our rucksack here. We have to carry it. We're going to deal with CDE. We're going to take all of your issues to them, and we're going to address them back with you. We're not going to try to make this some sort of a maudlin wake where you walk in here and we have to play a dirge instead of hearing Marshall telling us in a very upbeat way to change our names in that participants box. We're here to answer your questions, your difficulties, your challenges, your sacrifices during this transition time have not gone unnoticed. And if we have not acknowledged them loud enough or often enough, I apologize for that, because you have, and you've all been troopers in this. And I just need, we all need, just a little more time. And I know that that's the hard ask. We're all in this together. We're not, in some super user position at this point. We're using the same system you are. So just know we're in there with you. We're on your side. CDE's on your side. We're just going through a very hard transition right now, and we're trying to acknowledge you. We're trying to acknowledge your challenges as best we can. So with that said, Martha, Brandy, other analysts, do we have anything to say about bugs for this week, bug fixes, anything coming up?
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me, okay. with that, I'm just going to jump in then with the questions. And Vonda's the first one up there. Hi, everyone. That's Vonda. Of course, we want to hear about Vonda's Comic-Con adventures, but this probably isn't the venue for it. So looking forward to talking to you later, Vonda. Suan at 301. Q1, is there going to be a prize from FICMAT for the person who submitted the most defects in CALPADS this year? Maybe. Jim Carter, Q1, regarding acceptable meeting delay codes, what are some examples of a student emergency? Joe, you on board? Yeah, there you are. What would you consider an acceptable student emergency to use that delay code?
Oh, hi, Paul. Can you, can you repeat the question? So,
oh, sure.
Sorry about that.
For the student emergency delay code 70,
right,
which is defined as the meeting was delayed because hospitalization, parent incarceration, house burned down, or other emergencies involving students that are not identified, and other reasons for the delayed reason. How far does that extend? How broad is that umbrella?
we leave this as a local determination, and as you know, we can't obviously dictate how far that is because this is obviously contingent or subjective to what emergency that is confounded with the student, obviously. So please double check with your, with the current, situation with the student. That would actually, be the determination, obviously locally, that you have to see how far that would be. And we don't really check on the, here's the time limit, like why are you still having this student emergency here, right? So that is within your local discretionary issue to determine that.
Perfect, thank you, Joe. Carla, 301, Q1, hi. Once ticket 6292, end of year 1, Carnegie units earned is not displaying an OM, SCSC is resolved. Will I have to resubmit the SCSC file? I need to manually add college courses, so I am not sure if I should wait until this fix is implemented.
Shouldn't have to resubmit. I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
We think we have it in the back in the tables, but we don't have access. But I think when they did their initial research, they didn't indicate it was missing.
Okay. Linda, 301. Any news on when end of year 2 Sprig 70 Title I will be fixed?
That went in yesterday. So you just have to get a new revision for it to clear. There are other data scenarios that we did not fix in the SPRG 70. So it could be, if you still are seeing the SPRG 70s, it may be because it's not Title I, it's a different program record.
6299 is the new bug.
So our first bug was very narrowly scoped at Title I, only to find out there were other program records. Then we only addressed Title I yesterday.
All righty, moving on to Joanne. CalPADS Flash 234 only refers to end of year deadline submission, but not the cohort. Well, the cohort and end of year are tied together. So the cohort deadline is going to be the same as the end of year deadline. I apologize that was not included in there. It was an oversight on our part, but thank you for asking the question so we can get it out in the open. The cohort will end the same time end of year ends. Moving on to Denise at 301. For the students whose last year enrollments have been ended with E155 but are not returning this year, are we expected to capture all of the new statuses, T160, et cetera, in end of year 1, which is due September 9th, or do we have till the 22 census day to capture those?
Well, go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I was just going to. You're up, Martha. You outrank me.
All the exits in 21, 22 all enrollments have to be exited. And so at the time, if you believe that they are coming back, then you put in the E155. If later you find out something different, it depends, I think, on what grade level, if it's going to impact cohort or not, right? I think if they don't come back
you and I were on the same page. That's exactly where I was going, in that 12th graders you need to pay attention to now. The others can loiter in the background until you have a little bit of breathing room and you can go back in and edit them. But right now you need to focus on all of your graduating 12th graders to make sure that they are all included as the correct coding, so you don't get dinged for somebody who graduated, but you had exited them as E155 thinking that they weren't coming back for summer school, but they did, that kind of thing. So concentrate on your graduating 12th graders, make those amendments. The rest can wait until fall 1. Eva's announcing herself. Cindy, yes, they have. We talked about cohorts again. Elitania, it's a beautiful name. Q1, I'm getting several Sync 516 errors. I made sure the school of attendance, academic year, incident ID, and occurrence date are correct. I also resubmitted another file for those students, and I am getting an error Sync 516. Is this a known issue? I don't see a known issue
so.
on
It's
Sync
not a current
516.
one.
Tanya, go ahead and submit a ticket so we can take a look at that. Put my name on the ticket so I can dig in and make sure everything was correct in there, okay? Thank you. 302, Fabiola. Hello, I watched the SSID matching tool training videos. Good job, Nathan. To test it, I uploaded a small batch containing 10 students from the 10 records. 2 of the results in the match file were inaccurate. It generated 6 possible matches for each of the 2 students, and none of them were from the former LEA. We called the former LEA and they provided the SSID. When we entered the SSIDs in CALPADS, we confirmed that even though the students' names, grades, and birthdays were correct in our SIS, the system did not match them. In addition, we have done search by demographic, knowing the student already has an SSID. In various occasions, the system has generated 0 matches. We verified that the demographics data is entered correctly. I think we had already one known issue on it where if the middle name, if you enter a middle name, it kind of craps out the system or craps out the process.
We're working on broadening that defect.
Exactly. It's just kind of the kernel of any issues that we're finding in there. So Fabiola, you're not yelling into the void. We know about the matching tool needs a little tweaking, and we are generating bugs and working on it. It's one of the critical things that we know needs to be working, so we are working on it as best we can.
And I applaud you, Fabiola, for the due diligence and not accepting what the system gave you, but verifying that information. So it helps us know and to work on it to make sure that that tool is producing accurate results. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Kelly, 303, we have a student who was moved to home and hospital 3 days into the year. If his rostered teacher is going to be delivering instruction, does he have to be moved to a separate section marked with the H&H instructional strategy for the duration of the program, or can he remain on his regular roster? I know this has been asked before, probably by me, but I'm afraid I don't recall the response, and I did not find an FAQ addressing the question. Randy, you around?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so I think I need to know whether or not you're trying to report this for end of year. I'm assuming you're reporting this for end of year. And I will tell you that the staff member assigned to home hospital is not as relevant for end of year as it is for fall. However, students that are majority home hospital do get exempt from reporting attendance data. So if you were trying to sort of, not generate the error that says, hey, this kid isn't on home and hospital and you're exempting them from attendance, then you could create a section and then assign the home hospital teacher as well as have an instructional strategy of home and hospital. But if you're okay and you understand that you are going to get that warning generated, you can ignore it in this case. If in fact, the student doesn't have any regular attendance. So it's not mandatory that you do it, just because the staff information for end of year is not really as relevant as it is for fall 2.
Thank you, Brandy. Lori 303 Q1 SIMP 453 is still vexing me. Is it true that this was fixed? I have a snapshot this morning. I'm hearing for a workaround of adding our SIMP files for 22-23 that may fix the 21-22 end of year issue. Is that true? Well, a fix did go in. Looks like it went in on 8/16. And if you have a new revision and it still persists,
We
that's a
probably want to
problem.
look at it.
Yeah, we probably want to look at it. Can you open up a service desk ticket and put that in there so we can take a look and make sure of what we're talking about? And I have not heard that workaround, but that would be a wonderful workaround to have available. So yes, please submit a ticket, include the SSID so we can dinker around with that. Or I think it was Ethan who put it in the other day. I can frob it. Julie, Q1, I still have 171 Sprig 70s. These are not related to Title I. It seems to be triggering on records that have no overlap in some historical records. Well, as we talked about, we had addressed the Sprig 70 in a very narrow sense before. Now we are broadening it. So hopefully that will be addressed very soon.
But if you don't think they have any overlap, Julie, I would send in a ticket and give us an SSID that doesn't have an overlap. And maybe you have to go to page 2. Maybe you've done that. I don't know, because some are, going back a few years.
Okay, Jackie at 303 is known issue 6293 to be addressed soon. 6293 is invalid IVR 9 on soft files.
I think
It
it
says
was.
like it's
fix
in
available.
It looks like it's in next week's iteration path.
Excellent. So hopefully it will be addressed next Tuesday, and then new revisions will come in and we will know for certain. But yeah, we will verify when what's going in. Well, actually, I'm not going to see you on Friday, are we? Yes, hopefully it will be in next Tuesday's build. 303, Cami. Does CALPADS require there to be a guardian for a student file? We've been told by student services that students registered by a person giving a caregiver form cannot legally be tagged as the student guardian. Alex is pulling up the CFS.
Yeah, I don't think it's, we've got specifics like that. And that's probably a local issue. It's not something that's defined in ed code. So I would defer to your local legal counsel about that.
Okie doke. 303, Alex put the link to the SSID matching tool training. So if you need that, it's available at 303. Paula Mishima, 304. Yes, the deadline for the cohort is the same as the end of year submission. So confirmation from Paula. Looks like Kyron at 304 posted the SSID matching tool page from the user manual, looks like. So you have that available. Rebecca, 304, Q1, Flash 234 stated SIMP 453 was fixed, but I still have errors, no show students. Is that after a new revision? Because I think that the revisioning, especially with that CDD job, not syncing up directly yet, may delay your revisions. So you may want to check the dates and make sure that everything is native to after yesterday. So the certification or the submission refresh date, as well as the CDD job, are after the build. So like noon yesterday or later.
But if that's the case and it's still existing, send us a ticket.
Yes,
It
exactly.
could be a data scenario we missed.
It happens. 304, Rebecca Morel. Q1 is the end of year 3 fatal errors. Okay. Okay. SIM 453 was fixed, and if you're still experiencing problems with it, please open a service desk ticket, but know that we are still impacted, and it will be a while before we can look at it, just so you know. Kim, 304, I was looking at the work-based learning file information because one of our districts had a question. One of the references, a training PowerPoint called Work-Based Learning Data Population on slide 18 says that the SPED staff should review the CALPAD certification reports for WBLR. This file submission is part of end of year 1. What report would I review? SPED doesn't see end of year 1 reports, and I don't see any of this information in the end of year 4 reports. Thanks for your help. All right, Alex has end of year 1 up, and 18.1 is in the end of year 1, and that is the work-based learning report. Thank you, Alex.
Brandy, is it accurate, our training material, that SPED staff should review that report?
What is she saying? Well, the reason they should review it is because there are 2 programs specific to students with disabilities, and Alex is pointing them out there. So, or Gary, Alex or Gary, who's driving today? Is
Alex. Alex today.
Oh, Alex. So the transition work-based experience and the transition classroom-based work exploration are specifically for students with disabilities. And so the reason it's important that SPED staff review those is to see if all of the students who have met those criteria are counted there. So if you've got students that have at least 100 hours of transition work-based experience in grades 9 through 12, those should be reflected in the column with the code 60. And then if you have students who have the equivalent of 4 semesters of transition classroom-based work exploration, they should review it to make sure that any kids who have completed 4 semesters of courses that equate to work exploration are counted in those columns, because it's up to your IEP team and to determine which courses equate to those things, which of your kids are participating in work experience programs that are students with disabilities. That's why we tell them to review it. So it's not, they don't have to approve it, but if you want to get credit for those kids, particularly if they exit with a completion status of a certificate of completion, then you want to make sure they're counted there, because you'll get credit in the CCI for those kids.
So would you recommend, since most SPED staff don't have access to end of year 1, that they just download it and send it to them in a PDF?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, particularly the student list, right?
Yeah, and Brandy, just, we reiterated in one of the recent flashes that data has to go from special ed. Is that all maintained in your special ed system? It can't come up to CALPADS through that system. So your special ed staff have to make sure that data is in your student information system.
Right.
All right, moving on to Blake, 305. My cert errors, SIM 453, are all for the 22-23 students. That's interesting. Okay.
But they're legit. They're legit because you haven't finished filling out completing the SIMF record, right? So,
but it shouldn't be triggering an end of year.
Well, we haven't perfected that part of the CDD. So that's just one of the downfalls of, having EOI run into the next school year. I mean, I think we'll perfect it, but for now, and it's simple enough, because when you get a new SSID, you want to follow it up with a complete SIMF record, right? You got to have all of that information in the system sooner or later. So just send up a SIMF record for the kids. I know that, it's just so easy, along with everything else you got to do. I get it.
All right, Catherine Moore, 306. I have submitted my second ticket on the same issue. I have a student with the date of birth of January, and the student will be turning 5. CalPADS is telling me that the date of birth is good for kinder. This student is a TK. I have been able to obtain an SSID by entering the student as PS. I was told in my CalPADS ticket that the student was too old. I'm very confused. Sorry to be commenting on an item I have already ticketed on. I just don't think it is coming across clearly of what the issue is. Okay, let's see here.
Well, TK is kindergarten. I mean, I think that's the one thing that I wanted to make clear to that particular user is that transitional kindergarten is a kindergarten program. So as long as the student is at least 4 years old, they can have a grade level of kindergarten. You shouldn't be putting them in preschool because they're not preschool age.
But our workaround was to put them in preschool, then change the grade level over to kindergarten when we're having difficulties finding those SSIDs. So right now, I think that her workaround was to do the PS and then move them to kindergarten. So if it's, because the age range is what, 4 to 7 inclusive for kindergartners?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, 4 to 7 inclusive, yeah.
She's not able to find the SSID.
Somehow the record gets the wrong birth date and the SIMP gets built with the wrong birth date, and then it causes this error. And so we have to do some workarounds to get the record in and then flip it back to change the date and then change the grade to make it all hunky-dory. Paul, it was one of your tickets, so
Okay.
can open it up again and get back to you, Catherine.
Yeah, Martha, would you send me the ticket number?
Sure.
Thank you. Beatrice, it's 306. I'm getting a request to upload information for 22-23 for all students that need to be tested and uploaded into TOMS. Do you have an update about this? Flash 234 says LEAs should be uploading 22-23 enrollments now. So there you go. Start uploading them students. Rebecca, I see your Q2. I'll be circling back to that as soon as I write it down. 6. Margarita 306. Is the cohort deadline extended? Yes, it is. And it was not included in the communications. I apologize for that. Catherine, I see your Q2. Although it does revolve around the SIMP 453 that we've been talking about, so that may not even be relevant anymore. But let's see. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. Laura, thank you. Thank you all for those very kind comments. I appreciate those. I think all of us do. I know that Martha will occasionally, and Angela too, will occasionally find a little gem in the queue and send it out to the entire team to keep our spirits up when somebody acknowledges us and says, hey, thanks so much. It does help. But so I appreciate those comments. Angela, 307. Q1, good afternoon. Thank you for your support in doing the challenging transition. Are there any updates on end of year 4 fatal error SSRV 0445? I do not see it referenced in Flash 234 or in today's CalPADS weekly update email. I'm unable to click on the show button for the certification interface to see the details, and this error does not show up on the download certification report. Let's see, 445. Give me just a minute. I still see it on the known issues list at the bottom under other CDDs that are appearing to be over triggering, and I have not seen an update on that. Does anybody have any insights on that?
I do not.
Okay. All right. That's I'm just going to make a note to look into that here. 4, 4, 5. So I'm going to look into that offline and update you guys next time I see you Monday with anything I find on that. So right now there's no news, but we'll look into it. Onward. Thank you, Catherine. Callie, 309. Are you seeing any issues with SPED 389? We checked the error list and all the validated fields and couldn't find anything that should be causing the error to kick.
I don't recall that one.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing a 398 recently, or a 389 recently. And I'll just pull it up. So missing general education participation percentage range code. So students 5, but less than 23, SPED setting 400 or 500. Okay, so if you're using the program setting code 400 or 500 and the participation range is populated, submit a ticket. But if you're using 400 or 500 and the participant range is blank, you just need to populate that range with the appropriate coding. Maria, 309, I have a CSRS 490, but cannot make corrections. I know it's a known issue. Do you happen to know when this will be fixed? Not finding it there. Hold on just a moment.
I think it's not on the known issues.
Yeah, the entry in the user manual does not include any active defects.
Was it at one point in time and that we fixed it?
I don't see any recent issues with that number.
Yeah, I remember 430 was an issue, but I don't remember 490 being an issue.
So we think it's legit, Maria.
Right. Monica, in what circumstance should course 9215, free period or no educational content, be used? Any course that we don't want reported, but seems it is being reported, or do we still leave course codes blank? I'm not sure as the content area states interdisciplinary content, and I'm not sure what that means. Thanks.
So, Monica, those course codes were actually added as a result of a law that passed several years ago. It was a result of a lawsuit that basically said that there were some high schools in the Bay Area, and you actually happen to be in Santa Clara, so I don't know if it's one of your high schools. But there were several schools in the Bay Area that were enrolling students in free periods or no educational content when they actually still needed courses for graduation. And so these students apparently didn't end up graduating, and the parents sued the district because, you know, they were enrolled in these free periods and didn't get the credits they needed. So for all LEAs and all schools other than those 5 high schools, these are optional. So if it's, you know, a free period for a student, then you can report it. Although if you're in one of those high schools, you probably know that you are. So it's optional.
Interesting way to say that, Brandy. Melissa, 309, the matching tool is not really helping us. I uploaded 400 plus records and the result file has over 2,000 records, but the majority of the matches have less than 50%. I am spending, excuse me, screen flipped. I'm spending a lot of time reviewing each student. Is the matching tool working as expected, or will CalPADS be updating to be more accurate? Yes, we are. Again, hit the wild after we had tested it in our limited circumstances. We put it through stress testing as best we could, but as they say, no plan, survives implementation or contact with the real world. And same here, we're going to have to go back and tweak that thing probably a few times. But first iteration is a quasi-working model, and it's been helping a few people, and it's been kind of annoying a few others. But it is going to be worked on, and yes, we will get better results. Marshall at 309 put the SSID matching tool table of contents on the in the chat box so we can see what's in the training at what timestamps. Shelley 310, good afternoon. My superintendent just advised me that there was a new exit code for no-shows. I have not heard of that. I am looking for a new valid code and don't see it. Do you know anything about that? I thought we were still working with N470s.
That's all I know, and I don't think there's anything on the horizon, right, Brandy?
That is correct. There's not.
Yeah, you may want to reassure them that we don't, that CalPADS is not using a new exit code for no-shows.
But just remember, though, I mean, what your superintendent might be referring to is the fact that if a student previously attended your school the prior year, does not show up the next year, it is not appropriate to just no-show them, right? Your supervisors of attendance and attendance staff have to conduct a comprehensive investigation before that student is exited. If at that point they still cannot be found, then generally they need to be exited with an E140, which basically means there's no known enrollment, the student is truant. So you should not be no-showing those students immediately. There is no standard set of days like 10 days, 14 days. Minimally, you can exit them with a E140, but your attendance staff really do need to follow up to figure out what happened to those students and refer them to SARB if necessary. If after some investigation, it's determined that the student actually went or enrolled somewhere else, or you see an enrollment in CalPADS, then you can certainly change the exit code.
Thank you, Brandy. That is a very important differentiation there. Tiffany 310, in the past, there was a recommendation that delay and extension gripes be submitted directly to CDE folks making the decisions. While no one is stopping this from happening, it appears that CSIS, as the gripes communicator to CDE, no longer promotes this approach. It seems to be effective in the past.
This is Paula. I can try to say something to this. I mean, CDE, Brandy, some others are on these calls, and we understand very well the challenges that you all face now due to some of the changes that have been made into CalPADS, and we're communicating those concerns directly to those above us. And in fact, I appreciate some of the descriptions that you guys have on how things are more difficult for you, because it kind of provides, I guess, evidence when we keep saying that things are harder. It provides some concrete examples. So they are hearing it. Also, CITES has sent a couple letters to CDE with some specifics in it that we've responded to. But I think the problem now is that it's kind of become into that political realm where those at CDE who are concerned about the statutory deadline of the dashboard and pressure from the State Board of Education, that to them is that they're kind of putting priority on that. So it makes it seem like they're not caring, I guess, about the difficulties and the challenges that those, on the ground are experiencing in getting this data in by a certain deadline. So the gripes are being communicated. I mean, I think if you want to, communicate them directly to CDE, that's fine. Except that they have been coming, and we've been trying to escalate them as much as possible. It's just that we kind of have the same frustrations you will have in trying to make folks really clearly understand the situation. But again, like I said, it's kind of, when it gets into that political realm, it gets a little bit harder for us to manage. And so, I don't know if that helps, but we definitely have been trying really, really hard to to communicate what you guys are facing and trying to make new deadlines that make sense and stuff. But we, what we recommend isn't always what ends up happening. So I don't know if that helps at all.
Thank you, Paul. Doug at 3:10. Yes, the cohort deadline has been extended to match the end of year deadline. Catherine, see your Q3. Veronica, will there be an amendment window after the 9/9 deadline? No. The 9/9 deadline, I believe, is our drop dead date to meet our statutory reporting requirements, as well as give us enough time to retool CalPads for fall 1. Yadira, 312, end of year 4. I currently have 3 SPED 398s. My SPED person said that they made corrections in SACE and they have uploaded the files that have posted with no errors. And with my new snapshot, those errors are still there. Do I need to do anything on my end for these students with the errors? Are promoted students. Let's see here, 398, missing parental involvement facilitation code. I don't see a bug on it.
So Yadira, what I would do if you believe that it is posted, I would ask us to get another revision for you just to be sure, because it may be the change happened just too close to the revision and the CDD refresh.
Thank you, Martha. Rebecca Morales has a very kind remark for us here, praising us for our professionalism and helping you keep them from aging so much by laughing. So again, Rebecca, thank you for that. Stephanie, I'm getting an error that is an attendance code for an OSS, but no incident. I checked the student in my SIS. The student was suspended for an incident that occurred at another school. Was my site wrong to create one incident even though the student attended different schools? Should we have created another incident from his school that he was enrolled at? If I remember the rules correctly, if multiple students are involved in an incident and they attend different schools, each school is responsible for creating their own incident because that's where the student was enrolled and that's where it needs to be reported. Am I correct in that, Brandy?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. There's your answer. Each school needs to create their own incident. Sue-Ann, I see your Q2. I will come back to you. That's at 3:15. Q2, Veronica, I see you. Fabiola, your Q2 is very small. Leanne, Q1. After fixing discipline errors noted on end of year 3 cert, I sent up a new set of sync soft and SIRS files. I'm now getting 9,226 errors for IVR 9 invalid characters in the field. I'm not seeing any strange characters. Any thoughts? Well, we do have a PM 6293 end of year 3 invalid IVR 9 IVR soft file. Looks like there's a fix available and we're hoping to have it in Tuesday's release. So hopefully that will get fixed then. 318, Marshall has posted the SSID matching tool PowerPoint. So now you have the deck that is involved in the training. 318, Nancy Baum, are there any ramifications in 22-23 if the LEA does not collect the second parent's highest ed level, either some or all?
That was deferred to 23-24, Nancy. We're not collecting parent ed level for the second parent in the 22-23 year. We moved it to the following year. So no.
Yeah, there won't be an impact in 22-23.
Is it a conditional item though, if they give us a second parent? Or is that just the address? There's something conditional in the CFS.
Well, I recall the names that if you provide a preferred first name, you have to provide the last name as preferred as well. That you have to populate everything in there if you populate one.
Right, but this is actually a new field we would have to add, Martha, and we haven't added it.
Okay.
All right, Laura, 319, I still have SIMP 453 as well. Okay, good to know. Oh, up on screen, Alex has put the flash 223 message showing that the parent highest ed level was moved to the 23-24 academic year.
You skipped Ed at 319.
Ed, I'm so sorry. Let me get back up there. 319, Ed, there you are. As a support team, do you have access to add messages to the homepage in CalPADS, or does that require a developer intervention? If you have access, you should use it more liberally to post updates on outstanding issues and tool availability, such as SSID matching tool has issues when middle name is included.
Right now it is developer intervention. We lost our ability to update it.
Yes. Okay. Faith, you also have some 453 errors. Thank you. We will look into that. Cammy's thanking Brandy regarding the Guardians. Rebecca, I see. Oh, these are C2s. Damn it. All right. Rebecca's comment too is she's hoping that the workaround Lori Rios mentioned is not the fix for the end of year 3 SIM 453s, because we like to wait for at least 10 days before sending up our new academic year's records due to all of the no-shows that occur. Our plan was to send up our SCNR for all students on 8/23. We have only been sending them up for students who need to be tested. And Rebecca Valdez said that yes, she has a new revision. And I don't remember which validation we were looking at for Rebecca.
It was a 453.
Thank you. So looks like we still have some issues with the 453 that may need to be addressed. Jean at 322, I'm not able to get the list of students for the SPED 432. Is this a known issue?
I think I know what goes on with that. When it still gets reported on the revision of having some, and yet when you go to click on it to find the detail and there is none, we're out of sync with the DD and the revision. So we just have to refresh your revision, and then the SPED 432 drops off. So it's a timing issue when you can't get to the detail.
Thank you,
New
Martha.
revision should clear.
All right, Ann Barretto, 322. Can we claim ADA for TK students who are not going to be 5 by December 2nd? The FAQ on the Universal Pre-Kindergarten FAQ says we can't, but our CBO says that a new law passed in July has changed that rule. Is this true?
Yeah. So you'll see there, can you scroll up a little bit? All right. If they turn 5 by February 2nd, they're eligible for apportionment. So Alex is showing you the transitional kindergarten. And this is in Flash 228.
All right.
So that is true. So as long as they turn 5 by February 2nd, then you're okay.
So we should probably address our FAQ.
Yes.
All right, Fabiola, I see your Q2. Circle around to that. Charlene, 322. Could you repeat your answer regarding SIMP 453? Yes, it looks like the SIMP 453 still has a few issues in it. So we are going to be looking at that. 324, Claudia. Hi, I have 21 students with info record of 6/30/2023. This was my mistake. Soon after I uploaded the new file with the correct date of 8/24/2022, but I can't get rid of the 6/30/2023 record. The only The only known issue I found was 6248 shown as fix implemented. So you're getting an error for these, obviously. Error. I'm not sure which error is 6248.
So
Okay,
the info record, we're thinking it's the SIMF when she says with that info
Yeah.
record of 620 or
Yeah.
630.
Yep.
23. Oh, it's future year.
Probably
Wonder if
getting an
that
error
delete,
because they're not enrolled at that time.
a batch delete maybe?
So how in the world were they able to get it in the first place?
That darn GER 5.
A batch delete, or you may have to put in temporary secondary enrollment if it would even let you.
Mm-mm.
That
But
won't
it's
let
not
you
the
that far out.
enrollment, right? It's the SIMF record.
No, but to
that's...
delete the SIMP, they may have to show overlapping enrollment.
Oh.
Yeah. You can't do more
But
than
if they
50.
have a current
if-
enrollment that's open, it should overlap a future
Exactly, it
SIMP.
creates
Oh,
it
that's
creates the
true.
overlap. So you should be able to do a SIMP download, isolate those files using the 2023 academic year, assign it as a delete transaction, send it back up, and they should go away. And I know that I don't double should in a sentence very often, but that should work. So yeah, Charlene, if you need help with that, let us
That's
know.
Claudia.
I'm sorry, Claudia. Let us know, and we will, kind of walk you through that. But it's a SIMP download, and then convert it, isolate the records that you know are problematic, trim off the last two columns, add the D in the transaction type, and then remove the R from the file type. And then it should be prepped and ready to be resubmitted. Rebecca, see your Q2. 325. So Lou at 326. After reviewing the remaining SIMP 453, yeah, we know. I'm finding that the early records in fact. Oh. Okay, so yours is all dealing with the historic data. Okay. Yes.
But not that historic. But the CDD is looking not just at current year. It is looking at all of the SIMP records. And then it makes it really hard for you to fix it.
All right. Maria at 329. I see your Q2. C. Kruger still has the 453 errors. Okay. Russell, 329 Q1. I have an open ticket with Angela where I cannot get the SSIDs for 6 students that I created the SSIDs for. I checked and the transaction posted successfully. Any idea when Angela is coming back? Because we need to test some of these. I believe she's due back later this week.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We sure hope she
Tomorrow.
comes back. Russell,
So,
tomorrow.
yeah, hopefully tomorrow you'll hear back from her. Carol, 331. I just ran my certification error report for my 210 fatal SIMP 453s. They show up when I run it online, but the report shows 0. Yeah, the 1.0 report still has a bug written against it, I believe. So your best strategy for dealing with cert errors right now is to use the UI because it's not limited and it's not buggy at the moment, whereas the 1.0 is has had a few problems.
Was that Yadira, Paul?
Sorry?
Who asked that question?
Carol McKenzie, 331.
Thank you.
Rebecca, FYI, I had a similar issue as Angela Mata. It was for SPED 432 and CRSC 0123. I submitted the tickets for both, but I'm just sharing as an FYI. Do not show. Okay. Kim was adding clarification to her Q1, the WBLR file. When I try to see the end of year 1 reports 18.1, I get a message access denied. Paul, you mentioned downloading the file. Where could I do that from? After you run it, you can download it. So if it's not generating for you, and the access
She probably needs
denied.
the WBLR rules added to
But
her
it's a
account.
report,
It doesn't
End of year
matter.
one report.
because usually you just need the report role.
Mhm.
Mm.
She maybe doesn't have that role.
I think you may need the WBLR view role to be able to see that report, though. Let's see. Alex is gonna.
Usually you don't have to have the file role to see a report.
So see reports.
We only do that with free and reduced price meals, so you have to have that extra role.
So there's a role for EOI 1 reports. And that's
Yes.
the one that should let you view the 18.1 and you know, all the other ones. And so maybe Kim doesn't have that role. And so that's why she won't be able to, she gets the access denied. So either you ask
I don't know.
that,
I don't
no?
know. Kim's like a super user. She's up there.
Hmm.
Well, while we're on the call, we can take a look.
I'm looking
Yeah.
right
See.
now.
Okay.
We're vamping, so you can look, Gary.
I don't.
We're
Keep
dialed
going.
in, Kim, to you.
Yeah, we know Kim. Kim's been around for a while. Let's see. Okay, so we'll circle back to you, Kim, after Gary's done looking. Richard, 337. I have a SPED 432 error for students that are not in my LEA. I believe that is the error for the 432, is that it's triggering for future enrollments and students not in your LEA. And the 432.
So I think the fact that he's seeing that, we just need to be sure he's got a new revision. So I'll take care of that.
Okay. Yeah, the still extant end of year 4 SPED 432 is reading errors triggering on students not ever enrolled in the LEA. So if that's the issue, it's a known issue right now.
No, we fixed it. It went in yesterday. That's why people have to get a new revision. And
That's right.
sometimes
Sorry.
there's a timing issue.
All right. Chris White, 330. I'm sorry, what?
I was just going to say, I was so happy to see that one go in and the errors drop dramatically for folks.
Chris White, 337. With the new snapshots reflecting the deployment of fixes for known issues, should SELPAs be good to begin SELPA approving end of year 4 as LEAs become error-free and LEA approve the data? If you're comfortable with it. Yeah, right now there's no prohibition against it, but I would recommend everybody poring over that with a fine-tooth comb to ensure that you're comfortable with it. There may be, lingering issues, and we are trying to find them. But yeah, there's no prohibition from it. If you can LEA approve and your SELPA reviews them, they should be good to go. Wendy, 338 Q1. What is AB 181 alternative graduation SPED? Is there a flash?
Our SPED division is supposed to be talking internally about the development of alternative paths to graduation for students with disabilities. We don't know what that means in terms of data collection right now. So they're still working on it, and no, we have not put a flash together yet.
Okie doke.
Real quick, Kim, what LEA are you associated or getting the problem with? Because you have 3 pages of LEAs you're associated with.
Like I said, she's kind of a super user. Yeah, just go ahead and put that in the comments, Kim, please.
Just check one of them, Gary.
Well, I mean, some she's only got 3 roles. I mean, a lot of them she only has like 3 or 4 roles. So I don't.
Maybe missing the EOI
That's
one
probably what it is.
report role.
Or it could also be a school level account. We never know. Mary Masters, 342. Okay, on the exit E140, unknown, but we do know from the parent where they moved somewhere. But I hear you say that the parent word is not considered verification. Do we still use the E140 while waiting for a record request or verification of enrollment elsewhere?
That's best practice. You can go ahead and exit them with an E140, but just understand that ultimately, if that student doesn't, if you don't get a CUME request, the student doesn't get picked up anywhere, it has implications for cohort, particularly if they're in grades 9, 12. So you should have a process in place to ensure that a CUME request, if you're going to exit them with an E140, that a CUME request is received before you change it to, T160 or out of state or a private school enrollment.
All right, thank you very much.
So Kim posted below farther down that she is sped and she does not have the end of year one, and that would explain the issue.
Okay. We've just passed the 4 o'clock hour, so if you need to drop off, I want to respect your time. Please do so, and we will see you again in the next office hours on Monday. If you have a problem between now and then, please open a service desk ticket, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. If you're willing to stay on, we're going to still power through all the Q1s, and I don't know what we'll do with all the Q2s at this point, but Suzanne, 342. On Monday's call, we were told that end of year 3 SIMP 453 missing parent ed level codes for 22-23 enrollments was a known issue and would be addressed. Now we were told to simply upload SIMP files. I tried to do that this morning, and most of the records were rejected because of GER 5 missing enrollment in that school. Trouble is, those kids are enrolled in that school. Will this GER 5 error be resolved so that we can add the SIMP to our current students and therefore get rid of the SIMP 453?
It may be a different issue. The defect 6238 was in yesterday's release, which the title was, it was triggering on the parent highest ed level was missing on future enrollments and demographics owned by another LEA, and they shows that it was fixed. So what you're saying though, slightly different with having a GER 5 now. So Suzanne, we could use a ticket from you.
Thank you, Martha. Scrolling down, I see a Q2, a couple comments. Brianna, 350. Can you please explain to me the following? Flash 235, end of year 2, Sprig 70, certain scenario. Getting questions of what certain scenarios to look for. Remaining defects. Okay, I see what you're talking about. Sprig 70 for certain scenarios. I have no idea. That
was for the 122 issues, but that error was fixed, but now we have a lot more different things causing this SPRG 0070. I mean, it's other programs, not just the 122 program.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So, okay, yes, as Gary said, the problem is now broader. We addressed one facet of the issue. Now we need to broaden it out into the wider data spectrum. Carol, Martha, regarding errors dropping off. I checked a couple of errors. I could download an error list, but the data was still missing in CALPADS. I'm hand copying 21 pages of errors, but whatever works.
I was speaking to the aggregate count, so sorry, Carol. Truly sorry.
Right, notice I see Q2 51. All right, seeing crosstalk. Hold on. Kim Spence, I don't have Vonda. Sorry, I'm just going through here looking for Q1s, not commentary. I have a version for today. Revision.
Although Paul Berkdahl, he emailed me separately aside from what he's saying here in the chat. He said that his question wasn't addressed because he actually has a new revision from today, and the SPED 423 is still showing.
Well, that's 423, not 43. Is that the number? That's a different number, isn't it? Or is that transposed? Because weren't we talking about SPED 432?
It is 432.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 432. Sorry. Yes, it is 432. Sorry. In my email, he says 432. In the chat, he's saying 423.
Well, we got to take a look at it then.
Indeedy.
It cleared up for a whole lot of people, so we'll have to see what's special about Calaveras.
Sue Ann. Yeah, I just have to say that one. Waiting for a new revisionist like your dad going out for smokes and wondering if he's coming back. Oh God, Sue Ann, I love you. All right. Brian, thanks everyone. Keep on keeping on. I totally agree with Paul. Keep up the great work. We'll get there. Thank you, Brian. Currency super scan. Cindy, I received the GER fibers, etc. when sending my SIMP up and realized I sent in 21-22. It's getting confusing going back and forth. Resent it up for 22-23. Okay, Cindy, hope that works. Vonda is getting a 403 forbidden access denied to certify error reports. Anyone else getting that? I have not seen a 403 come through the service desk, or not recently anyway, not in the last week or so. So if it is, it's a fairly new symptom. Okay, looks like we're just down at the bottom. We're also, 10 minutes past the hour. Do we want to hit back the Q2s, Q3s, or shall we invite them to open service desk tickets on those?
We're swamped with tickets. It's gonna, be several days before we can get to them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you quickly get through the Q2s?
I got a list of about 12 of them. So
Try
we can
to
give it a
quickly
shot.
go through them. Let's
right.
take it till 4:30. We definitely call it halt at that point.
All right, 306. Let's get back to 306. Give me a second. 306. There it is. Q2, Rebecca. When will SSID matching tool be updated to include students with 2 last names? I have a student that came back as no match from the tool, but I found them in the student data maintenance search. So was it a hyphenated name or just a 2-word name? I'm not sure how that is picked up in the matching tool. I know in the past, our algorithms for the name search had to be tweaked quite a bit to detect multiple last name type things like that. So it's probably just work that needs to be done to the matching tool as well to match the former that was there.
Yeah, I can tell you for sure that any sort of punctuation and differences in punctuation is not going to result in a match because it has to be an exact match right now.
Okay. Catherine Moore's asking about the SIMP 453, and we've talked about that. Catherine 311. Q3, Catherine 311. I ran the new SSID file through my SIS system at 12 this afternoon. It has still not completed. Do we know how long this process should take in the SIS once it has been submitted and viewed the new file?
Is this the SSID
records,
matching file?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It depends on how big of a file you sent up. It's not supposed to take that long.
It only has one status, right? Either it fails or it's validated. So
right.
If it's in the validated state, it is done. So I don't know, Catherine, what your the state is, and does it have a job number?
315, Sue-Ann, Q2. Since not every LEA is on this Q&A, should CSIS notify the LEAs that the SSID matching tool is not reliable at this time?
What do you think, Brandy?
We're working on it, Sue-Ann. It's not optimized, that's for sure. I will have to talk to our CalPADS operation leads to see, and yeah, I mean, we can certainly talk about letting folks know that it's not providing expected results.
And maybe like Ed said, maybe we can just put a note up on the home screen.
Yep.
You know, just notifying them that, you know, currently the tool's been released. We're experiencing some difficulty with it. You know, it's not coming back with matches as expected, you know, but still do your best with it. I don't know what the messaging is.
It's a good idea. We'll work on it. Work on getting a message posted.
Agreed.
All right, 316, Veronica, Q2. This is my first end of year, so please pardon my newness. What happens if we can't fix all of our fatal errors by the 9/9 deadline? Same thing that happens in all of the submissions. If you're not able to certify, you either don't certify or you get an override depending on the circumstances. If there is a continuing known issue that you're unable to overcome, obviously an override would be forthcoming because there's nothing you can do about it. But up on screen, Alex has pulled up the PDF of how CalPADS data are used and the consequences of not certifying it. And on there, it includes each of the EOI submissions and what happens at the state and federal level and what you are missing out on and what the possible impacts of that are. Sorry, go ahead.
Probably one of the biggest things is that your EOI 3 data wouldn't make it to the dashboard. And that's a big deal. So if you had to prioritize, make sure EOI 3 gets done. But those are the details. You know, there could be grant monies potentially if you don't have counts, official counts. And official counts means that you certified the submission.
All right, Fabula 322 Q2. Since incomplete independent study counts towards chronic absenteeism, would you recommend we code it as a verified absence?
No. I mean, here's why I say that, Fabiola. I understand that you're trying to avoid it counting towards chronic absenteeism, but if a student was assigned independent study work and is actually not completing that work, that essentially is the same thing as being absent. So I would say it is what it is. You know, if you have a kid that's not completing a certain amount of work and they're chronically absent, meaning they're not completing their independent study work, it should get counted towards their chronic absenteeism.
Okay. Rebecca 325, is the revision create snapshot updates turnaround time going to improve, or is this part of the norm with the new system migration / update? Right now, it appears to be one a day or sometimes one every 2 days. What's up?
Yeah, right now it's the norm, but I think, you know, over time that we are going to continue to try to make adjustments. I think what is impacting the revision turnaround is now we're also bringing in the data discrepancies, the certified data discrepancies, certification data discrepancies. And so it's a new process that I think the developers have to spend a little time tweaking. So we feel your pain on that one in helping you guys. You know, we need those revisions and it slows us down a great deal. So I can imagine what it's doing to you guys, really slowing down your ability from day to day seeing results.
Among other limitations on our side, where we can't even look at the records that pass in a file anymore without looking up the entire file. Yeah. But that's again our problem. Maria.
So it's so Rebecca, it is on our list. We are constantly asking for, you know, people to look at the revision queue.
Yes. Maria, Q2 329. I'm unable to upload my SIMF because I have 12 4-year-old kindergartners that it won't allow.
It's probably SPR Center 262. So Maria, you got to send us a ticket.
Please. Mary 347 down there. 647. Do you have a separate list of reports that have issues? I am at the point where it could be good to know which reports are reliable and which ones are not.
No, we don't. We just have the known issues. So the best that you can do is just search on report and see how many hits you get. Sorry.
Angela Mata at 349 is asking about the CalPADS, the TOMS extracts. Are they being sent nightly yet, or is it still a sporadic manual process?
They're being sent nightly.
Well, look at that. We got that going for us. See? All right, 351. Alyssa, when do you expect to have the matching tool working properly? We have been waiting for it for a long time. I have a lot of records, so it would be weeks. So if it will be weeks, then I would rather know now and start looking up each student manually in online maintenance. Do we have
I would
any
say
ETAs?
start looking them up one by one because we can't give you a time frame. It's hard for us to project what the 10 developers are able to do. And I think there's one developer that is working on the, is responsible for the match tool at this time.
I can go ahead and just put in a plea and you know, let him know that should be a really high priority though.
He's got competing high priorities.
I'm sure he does.
I think mids are his other competing priority.
Okay, towards the bottom we have some comments for each other. Oh, Terry, you're LEA and SELPA approved. Congratulations. Well done. Let's see, Rebecca, and just for SSID tool message, it should be placed on that page so that people halt once they see the message that the tool is not working. Nice job, Terry Monzago. And with that, we are at the bottom. And we are now 20 minutes past the hour. I thank you all for sticking around for so long. You know, these meetings are always informative, educational for us, and I appreciate you being here and participating. We're gonna get back to it and try and continue working our way through the service desk tickets, and hopefully we will get through our backlog sooner rather than later. If you need something before our next meeting, obviously put in a service desk ticket, but know that there might be a delay in getting back to you. Appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care.